Together, we're exploring the intersection of faith, biology, and the signals that shape how we heal.
You'll hear conversations about nervous system safety,
peptides and cellular communication,
prayer, trust, and what it means to live aligned with design.
No hype,
no pressure,
just curiosity, relationship, and truth.
Welcome to Prayer and Peptides. We have come down to our last deep breath of the season. So let's take one deep breath. Season 1 began with a simple idea: signals that shape the body, and the trust that we put in our Creator that gives us the most powerful signals of all. So the word of this episode is trust. You've been waiting to see proof before believing change is possible. We've all been there. We've all done that. But today, we hope that you choose trust as a posture as you know that you can change moving forward. It reminds your body that change often begins before evidence appears.
This season, we talked about alignment, neuroplasticity, rest, inflammation, sleep, consistency. In the last episode, we talked about environment. And in every episode, it returned to the same truth, that the body responds to signals, and signals repeated create change. And for me, there was this one episode that really stood out, and it was the one about rest, because I have been nonstop productive. And there is a difference between being productive and being busy. And I do feel like I'm busy, but there is, I have been super productive in a lot of the things I've been doing. I've been very intentional in my movements, I guess you can say. I have 3 dogs. I travel a lot. I have 3 jobs. And then all the house stuff, the house chores and meal prepping and cooking and groceries. It's just a lot all the time, right? So one of the things that I have learned is because I'm so productive, I sometimes don't take as much time for rest. I don't recover as well because I stay in this constant loop of productivity. And so the episode that we talked about this particular season, when we spoke about rest and really recovering our body, it really meant so much to me because it was such a great reminder of all the things that I already know, but it was all the things that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to really put this into practice. I am really going to try harder about recovering and resting and giving my body what it needs so that I can be as productive as I am, because that's what I need. In order to be productive, I have to rest. Otherwise, I am not going to be very good in any of the things that I do. So I'm curious, for you guys, was there an episode that really impacted you the most this season?
I would say for me, it was the one that I kind of cried. I mean, I did a little bit tear up on one, but then one I really had a moment where I was talking about, an event that's happened to me that I had to forgive myself for. And I walked away that night. I was like, whoa, and I don't even know right now if we're going to even play that portion. I haven't decided fully, but that really impacted me. But one of the biggest things is I had never done podcasting on a series before. Had I been on a podcast as a guest? Absolutely. But there's a whole thing about podcasting that you have to feel safe. You have to listen to your body, but you also have to trust the people you're doing it with. And I think that's one thing that I've learned to get me to build to that, to be able to trust, Anna and Lauren, both of you, to share that and know that I had your faces to look at and know that you had me, that God had me in that moment and I was open to share. That was a huge impact for me because I am somebody that keeps many things close. Where there's a lot of people that'll say, oh, I know her so well. They know what I share with them. I was just with both of you a couple weeks ago, and you got to see one night where I just let you guys see me and how I could just be myself. But I think that one episode, I walked away and was like, wow, I shared something that I don't talk about.
Well, we do appreciate that you showed us an Amy that others rarely get to see because you felt safe enough to do that. And I hope that you know that we will love you and go through the roller coaster, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I hope that that is resounding as something that happens in our relationship between the 3 of us, that things happen, life happens, but yeah, good, bad, or ugly, we're in it for the long haul. And I think that one of the things that I loved, not necessarily a particular episode, but that there were action steps and there were things that I could apply every week to build out that safety net. We've talked about it, that signals work better when they feel safe, when they feel supported, and that communication flow can happen. So I kind of think of it as, have you ever been in an argument and everybody's tensions are really high and you're just like, things are moving so fast, but if you take a moment and take a breath, go walk around the block, have a snack, maybe have a nap, and revisit it, that you can both speak clearly and get to a common goal and solve something. Like, that's the place that I like that we are now at with these action steps every week of getting our face in the sun, doing our devotions, working on our sleep, and reducing our inflammation. All of those things, they build on one another and they get us to a place of safety.
If one of these episodes has helped you rethink your health, drop a comment and share which one. We love hearing those reflections. Healing doesn't begin when you see results. It begins when the body receives consistent signals, signals of safety, signals of nourishment. Evidence follows instruction. When I think about that, about how I see and feel the signals in my body, I really start with recognize that I have to notice things, right? And when we want to notice, then we start really leaning in and maybe are more aware of the signals that are preparing us. So when I'm thinking about this, what changes have you noticed since starting this journey, and what signals are you listening to more?
I think for me, I have really noticed how the peptides that I've been using have really helped me communicate with myself. That sounds kind of weird, but I mean, obviously we've been talking about these signals and we've been talking about listening to our bodies and being intentional. And there are times where I need to intentionally do things to help my body perform optimal. And I need to have the energy. I need to be standing on my feet all day. That can wear on my body. It hurts my back and my neck. And so using some of these peptides that I've been using really have helped me clear out some of the inflammation. It has helped me become more focused. In the evenings after a really long, busy day, I love taking one of our support products to just calm me down and put me into such a great relaxed state that I can actually just be. I could turn off my brain for a little while and just completely relax. And so I have really noticed that since we started these podcast episodes, I've been using these peptides, but every week when we change our subject and we talk about something different, I'm like, oh yeah, that really makes sense. And I'm more aware of what's happening in my body. Some of these topics that we talked about, I'm not always completely aware of until we talk about it that week. And then the next day, I'm like, oh, this is what we were talking about yesterday. Or I'll be in a conversation with a client and I'm like, oh my gosh, we just recorded this podcast episode and we were just talking about this. And so it's been very cool to just see how the flow of our podcast has really just intertwined in my life. And I truly believe that is also the Holy Spirit working in my life. I believe that's where the faith and the trust of this journey has really all just come together, and it's just made a complete 360.
Anna, I hear where Lauren is going, and it really makes me think about you listening to your body and the progress that you made. But sometimes I know we don't always see the results appear, and it may happen slowly. Can you relate to anything like that on the journey?
Absolutely. It is a daily choice. And so part of the topics for our weekly episodes didn't happen by accident. So I have had a front row seat to about 50 transformations over the last year. And these are the things that I coach them on and that they struggle with, that they come, and not everybody struggles with everything, but there are patterns, and here's the things that we can do. So there's a little bit of intuition. So a lot of it really is the Holy Spirit and divinely guided, but this came from a place of, we're not the only ones that need to have this conversation or need to have this kind of support. So yes, on my own journey and going through things, and Consistency is key. Again, I'm going to get it tattooed on my forehead because I really believe that it is so, so true. Because especially when we're in a social world that wants quick fixes and early results. And so short-term effort creates a short-term result, and you don't get to keep it forever. So we've walked through with 50 of my clients. They're having the results and they're keeping them. They're not rebounding. They're not struggling with the things that they struggled with before, because we take the time to develop these skill sets and these knowledge bases and really think on it like we're doing here every week. And I really think that that makes a difference, because now we're getting into a season where consistency is boring. But this is where the magic happens. Nothing changes, and then in about 6 weeks, you're going to look in the mirror and be like, oh, that's different. I don't know if you can tell on video, but I have all of this new growth coming in. It's because of Peptide that I drink once in the morning and I drink it once at night now in my bedtime routine. It changes the game, but it takes your body 6 months, a year to respond, to clean out the junk. So think of it like this. Let's say you had a fire in your house. Okay. You put the fire out, you're not going to paint the walls. You're going to do some repair work. You're going to do some shopping. You may redesign. You may put things in different places. You're not going to go straight to painting or putting a picture on the wall if the room was on fire a second ago, right? So that's why we need to give ourselves enough time. And I love that about this journey, is that it has been so supportive and so easy along the way, and that this podcast has given us the opportunity to share our personal experiences with those looking to experience the same thing.
Let's pause for just a moment. Thank you for being a part of season 1 of Prayer and Peptides. Your thoughts, thoughtful comments, conversations are shaping what this space is becoming. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's next.
Season 1 was about orientation, learning how signals shape the body, and season 2 will go a little bit deeper, which I'm really excited about. We're going to talk about metabolic health, peptide signaling, lifestyle rhythms, and recovery tools, which I love the recovery tools. I think that's going to be such a fun episode to talk about. And we're in season 2 right now, and we're already starting something special. So I'm very excited for everyone to be a part of our season 2. Make sure you're hanging out with us on Instagram though, because we're kicking off season 2 and you don't want to miss our 12 Days of Christmas in July event. Every day we are going to be sharing daily prizes, a knowledge summit. You're going to hear from some really amazing people and get some great education, guest experts, and a grand prize giveaway. It's our way of celebrating this community and continuing the conversation with everyone. You'll find all the details on Instagram, so definitely go check it out, Prayers and Peptides on Instagram. Now, we've been talking about the signals our body creates all season and how our peptides help with that, but I'm sure there are still questions. Have we left anything out? Do you think that there is anything else that we should quickly mention about peptides or health signaling? So what kind of questions would you say that we think our listeners still have about peptides or health signaling?
I think I'm excited to go into season 2 and kind of show y'all more of the outcomes of using that consistency and what it can look like daily to have that communication and that signal work in a way that just retrains your cells to do what they were designed to do. I think that's going to be a great conversation. So I'm really looking forward to talking about that and having a couple of guests on to share their personal experiences as well.
I think that's really exciting. Things are to come. And the one thing that I think, if I put myself in our listeners' shoes, and when I started my peptide journey, I was a newbie, right? I didn't know the difference between non-injectables, injectables, what to take, what not to take, all of those kind of things. It was like, I don't even know where to begin. And I think one thing that we've done is laid a foundation where people can really see what fits for them and what balances out what their body needs. And one size does not always fit all. So you have to listen. You got to listen to your signal and really go after the solutions for that. And I think that's something that I look forward to discussing. And I also, on the prayer side, everybody's in their own journey, and that's okay. It's not a race. It's not that if you do one thing, you're going to be closer to God than somebody else. You're in your own relationship. You're in your own relationship with your faith. And that's something that I want to really make people feel comfort in. And I think that's something where on your journey, it's important to recognize that your health and your faith align together, and both of them may take time.
So we talked about building a house. If your house was on fire, you wouldn't redecorate it and hang a picture just as soon as you put the fire out. But inside your body, communication drives everything. So over the last probably couple of decades in the health space, we've really been focused on the raw materials, our macros, right? Proteins, fats, carbohydrates, ketones, all of the things that they all do these specific things. And I think we're really well versed in that. But where the next step needs to come in is the instructions. We need the blueprints, right? So I could give everybody 10 2x4s, nails, paint, the whole thing, and every single one is going to look different until I give you a set of instructions. And that set of instructions helps regulate your metabolism, helps you with recovery, helps you use the protein that you're putting in your body 4 times better. Wouldn't that be nice, right? We need to balance our nervous system, and these instructions help support that. So when you use these instructions and you're supported over time, lots of people are experiencing smoother energy patterns, right? I feel great today. I'm not in a flare, like my joints don't hurt, my knees don't hurt, and usually I'm in a ton of pain by this time in the evening. But I'm feeling good today because I've been working on something daily that increases my resilience, and I get better and better recovery. So not because something dramatic changed. I call this 2 sips and a swallow. It takes me 30 seconds a day. If you don't have time for 30 seconds, we need to have a different conversation. So if any of that sounds interesting or intriguing to you, please have a conversation with us. The link is down in the show notes. Click that link and you'll get to connect with one of us, and we'll start the conversation to explore the support signals that you really do need in your life. So as we close season 1, I want us to carry the posture forward of trust. Trust your design. You were knitted in your mother's womb and known before you even existed. You were created for a purpose. I want you to trust that your body was designed with the ability to respond to signals. And small changes, repeated, create transformation. So before you go, as we wrap up season 1, comment trust if that's the posture that you're choosing to move forward into this next season. And of course, make sure you're following us over on Instagram at Prayer and Peptides so you don't miss the 12 Days of Christmas and July celebration in season 2. And all the questions that you have, post them over there. We want to know. Or in the comments here on YouTube, we want to know and answer your questions moving forward. So we will see you in season 2. Thank you for joining the conversation.
If something in today's conversation stirred you, send it to the person who came to mind. That's how this message moves, person to person, and we can't do it without you. If you want to stay connected, go ahead and subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. All the resources and goodies are linked in the show notes, and we'd love to continue the conversation with you over on Instagram. Until next time, stay prayerful, stay curious, and keep listening to the signals. The content shared on Prayer and Peptides podcast is for educational, informational, and inspirational purposes only. This podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, nor is it a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Discussions around peptides, nervous system regulation, stress, sleep, hydration, and wellness are presented as general educational concepts and reflections on the body's design, not as medical recommendations. Always seek the advice of your physician, a licensed healthcare provider, or qualified medical professional regarding any medical condition, symptoms, medication, supplements, or health discussions. Never disregard or delay seeking professional medical advice because of something you heard on this podcast. The host and guests of Prayer and Peptides are not acting as medical providers. Any personal experiences or stories shared are anecdotal and not intended to imply guaranteed outcomes. Spiritual reflections, prayer, and scripture-informed insights are offered as relational and supportive practices, not as replacements for medical or mental health care. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that you are responsible for your own health decisions and that Prayer and Peptides assumes no liability for actions taken based on the information presented.